So we're going to chazer from the Mishnah on Chav Ches and Beis. Kol Shabbos Hayamim Adam Eises Sukkah Kevo Beis Sa'arei. All 7 days of Sukkahs, you should make your Sukkah fixed, permanent, and your house should be temporary. Yordu Gshamim, if rain started falling, the aim is when you're allowed to start packing out, taking things out of the Sukkah, and being able to eat in your home. Misha Tisrach HaMikvah. Once the porridge gets ruined, then you're allowed to leave. Mashli Mashal, the Chazal gave it a mashal. Lamad of them, what's this comparable to? Le'evid Shabal Limza Case L'Rabbi, to Evid that's coming to dilute the case of his Rebbe. He's bringing water to dilute his cup of wine. The Shafach like Kitin Apanav, and he poured the pitcher on his face. We'll see who poured the pitcher on whose face. Tan Rabbanon Tar in the Brayso. Kol Shabbos Hayamim Adam Eises Sukkah Keva Beis Sa'arei. All 7 days a person should make a Sukkah Keva in his house. Arai. Kate said, how do you do this? Hoyloi Kelim Noim, if you have nice utensils, Malon the Sukkah, bring them up into the Sukkah. Matzah is nice, if you have nice linens, Malon the Sukkah, bring them up into the Sukkah. Oichel V'Shayzim Metal B'Sukkah, you should eat, drink, and hang out in the Sukkah. That's the Brayso. Says the Gemara, where do you know from this idea that you should live in the Sukkah like Mamish, like that? The Tanur Rabbanan went in the Brayso. Teishu, it says in the pasuk, you should live in your Sukkah. Midarshan Ke'ein Teduru, the same way you live at home. Mikan, from here, from this idea, Amru, they said, Kol Shabbos Hayamim Oyisa Adam Sukkah Keva Beis Sa'arei. You should make your Sukkah Keva in your house Arai. And this Brayso also elaborates how to do it. Kate said, Hayiloi Kelim Noim, if you have nice Kelim, Mal in the Sukkah, bring to the Sukkah. Matzah is nice linens, Mal in the Sukkah, bring them up into the Sukkah. Oichel V'Shayzim Metal B'Sukkah, you should eat, drink, and hang out in the Sukkah. But this Brayso sticks in Umeshanim B'Sukkah, which usually means to sharpen, to analyze, to really learn Be'iyun. You should learn in the Sukkah. The Gemara asks a question on that. Eini, is that so? That if you're learning Be'iyun, you should learn in the Sukkah? V'amar Rava says, Mikro Misna, Tanakh, and Mishnah is B'mitalalta. That should be in the Sukkah. Usnuye, but Gemara, or more like an Ian, like thinking about your learning and trying to understand the Svaras, Barmi Mitalalta, that should be outside the Sukkah. Because, not that it has to be outside, you're allowed to go outside. Some people need fresh air to really learn Be'iyun. So how could the Brayso says you should do it in the Sukkah, but Rava says, no, you could do it outside the Sukkah. The answer is like Kash, it's not shver. The Brayso is referring to B'migras, you're reviewing your learning. Reviewing should be done in the Sukkah. It's not as much Ian when you review. It's still sharpening because you're reviewing, but it's not the real hard Ian. But Rava was talking about B'yuni. When your mom is learning B'iyun, that you could even do outside the Sukkah. And the Gemara brings a story to elaborate these two types of learnings. Kiha de Rava v'Rami Bar Chama. I switched my Gemara to say Kiha de Rava and Rami Bar Chama. Kiha v'kaimig mikamei Rav Chizda. When they were standing in front of Rav Chizda after a shir, they just heard a shir from Rav Chizda. Merahati b'Gemara b'Hadei Adadi. They reviewed the Gemara with each other. They quickly reviewed, get it clear what he say, what he not say, okay? And then v'hadar ma'ayni b'sor, and then they analyze the shir to soras or ask questions. So you see these two types of learnings. One's reviewing and one's real iyun. When Rava said iyun could be done outside the sukkah, is referring to like that real heavy iyun, while the Brayso that said you should do it in the sukkah is referring to more of a reviewing of your learning. One interesting thing about Rava and Rami Bar Chama, who are right now in front of Rav Chizda. Rava and Rami Bar Chama were Talmidim of Rav Chizda. They were Talmidim. Rami Bar Chama was actually very into Iyuni, this type of learning. He was very well known for his svara, analytical. Some people are known for their bikiyas, tons of braitzos and mishnayos, and some people are razor sharp in their analytic skills. So Rami Bar Chama was much more that type. That was what he stands out in. But believe it or not, he died at a very early age. He died in his 20s. And he didn't get smicha, and that's why he's called Rami Bar Chama. He wasn't called a Rav, or he did not have smicha. But listen to this story. Unbelievable story. Again, Rami Bar Chama and Rava are Talmidim of Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda had a daughter. He had a daughter. And Rav Chizda's daughter was like a major shidduch of Chizda's daughter. Rav Chizda was very wealthy. Rav Chizda was a beer maker, a very wealthy guy. And he had a daughter. And Rav Chizda asked his daughter, who do you want to marry from my Talmidim? Rava or Rami Bar Chama? These two guys. And she said, I want to marry both. Okay? Like a girl, I want to marry both. So he told her, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can only marry one. don't remember the exact line. Maybe he said, if someone dies, you can marry the other one. No, did he say that? I think if someone dies, you can marry the other one. She married Rami Bar Chama. She married him first. And Rami Bar Chama died at an early age. I'll tell you the story in a second. I just learned the Gemara randomly with somebody else. Brachas. For once, I'll tell you the story. He died at an early age. Well, yeah, I just learned it. He died at an early age, and she married Rava after that. So she ended up marrying these two Talmidim. And Rami Bar Chama, he was very, very sharp, and very, he was making a zima, he was eating a meal, and he wanted 3 people for a zima. And there was a guy in there named Menashe Bar Tachlif. You know this Gemara? And Menashe Bar Tachlif said, I can be one of the 3 to join your zima. He said, no. Because he passed, and you can only join a ziman if you're like a real, like, you're Meshamash Mir Chachamim, you know Svar, you know Gemaras, and he felt he was not right. So he said, you can't join. And he was wrong. Menashe Bar Tachlif really was a very stark guy. He didn't look into it well, and because of that Maisa, Rami Bar Chama died. Because he didn't let someone into a zima. Okay? Akapanim, he's a very famous character, and his son-in-law was Rav Ashi. Okay, so you're talking about major son-in-law. His father-in-law was Rav Chizda. And that's just a little bit about him. His grandson was Amemar. Yeah, what were you telling your friend? Nothing. So Shlosha Sha'achlu.
There's a riot, they learned it 3 times right away, the Gemara.
Why?
Because it says, you told the Gemara, and chazed it again, and chazed it again.
Where is it the chazed it again?
They
chazed it. And then they analyzed it. Why 3? Oh, because you heard the shir, then they reviewed it. By the way, 4 in a way maybe, because Bahadi Adadi, like I do it once, you do it once.
Kinyan.
And then kinyan. Okay. Says the Gemara Vaika, this is what we're up to. 3rd line, Amar Rava. Amar Rava says Rava. Money mishtia b'mitalalta. Money means utensils. We're going to have that word a lot. Money. Money, utensils, drinking utensils, mishtia. Drinking utensils. You have a cup and you drink something, and now you want to leave your empty cup in the sukkah. B'mitalalta. You can leave it in the sukkah. Talalta, mitalalta, is the Aramaic word for a sukkah. It really means shade, but that's what's used for a sukkah. If you look at Targum Onkelos on the word sukkah in the Torah, it says mitalalta. So if you have drinking kalim and they're done and you're not using them anymore, you can leave them in the sukkah. Mani michla, but eating utensils, you use your plate, you use your fork, things that you use for your food. Barmi mitalalta. It should be outside the sukkah. It's disgusting. Your plates are dirty. Your forks are dirty. You take them out of the sukkah. The sukkah is a holy place. Although we hang out and we live there, we still treat it with dignity and respect. So dirty food kalim out when you're done. But drinking kalim, you can leave it there. That's fine. Here's some more kalim. Chitzva v'shachil. Chitzva is an earthenware jug. Basically, it's like a big, matzah to get water. One of these, like those things people have in their houses, that Zetzer thing, you pour the, press the button. What's that thing on top called? What's that thing called on top? The facing downward? The jug. A water dispenser. The cooler, whatever you call it. Like a huge, serious water jug. And a shachil is a pail of water. So big water jugs or pails of water, things that are not, that's barmi mitalalta. That should be outside the sukkah.
I asked a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they said hell no sukkah.
Right.
And over here it's saying that you can't bring in a shachal.
Right. And even now I was even shocked also. So what are you drinking from a Deli Shamayim for?
You shouldn't bring in a sukkah. You said hell no sukkah.
Right.
Probably after you're done.
After you're done, probably. Right. It's like, no, this is probably like the bucket that they poured from is water. Because they probably never drink water, really. So probably to wash their hands or to pour some water. So they brought the jug in, okay, but then once you're not using it, it's not proper to leave this big pail and you take it out. I hear the question also. It's good. Irish get it there. It's awesome. Yeah. So water jugs and water pails, barmim talalta, outside the sukkah. Ushraga is a lamp, but an earthenware lamp. Earthenware lamps get very disgusting. I don't know why, just the Metzias. Shabbos talks about it a lot. It'd be muksa after you use it. But earthenware lamps are very disgusting after they're used. So the Brisa says, though, bimit talalta, you can leave it in the sukkah. That's okay. I know it's disgusting. You can leave it in there. Va'amila, but some say differently. Barmim talalta, take it out of the sukkah. No, it's disgusting. It's too mias. Take out the lamp out of the sukkah. So the Gemara says, they're not arguing. These two versions they're not arguing. The one that says you could keep it inside, b'sukkah gedela, it's a very big sukkah. Guy's a big sukkah, and he has a lamp in it. It got a little disgusting. It's not in my face. It's spread out. It's a big sukkah. It's off to the side. The one that says to put it outside the sukkah is referring to b'sukkah ktana, a small sukkah. So you have a bingo sukkah, which I had this year. I would take out my shragas. That happens. But if you have a nice geshmak, a big sukkah, so then I was in so many said in Shul David, the high sukkah, what was that? What?
Back in Rashi says the shachal.
By shachal, yeah, he's back to shachal.
Dli
Dli yeah.
Dli shal eitz. Why are you saying Dli shal eitz?
Just say dli.
He's saying that a Dli shal eitz we have to take out a sukkah.
Why? Why?
So I guess one was considered more.
It's more like me instead.
Dli shal machas you can keep in. That's what Rashi doing.
Nettle. Okay. So so the sukkah ktana, the small sukkah, you take out your shragas, your earthenware lamps. The big sukkahs, you can keep it in there. Yeah.
This distinction is only by shraga. It's not by food.
Right. Food utensils out once you're done. Once the meal's over, you don't want to keep them around. It's not nice. But drinking utensils, you could keep. A shraga depends. Big sukkah, small sukkah, that's what it really depends on. I guess the food utensils are not are more disgusting. That you got to get it out. So those are some rules. Disgusting kalim should not be left in the sukkah. Moving ahead, says the Gemara, Yordu Geshan. This is a quote from the Mishnah. When the rain starts to fall, right, you can start leaving the sukkah. So our Mishnah said, when can you leave the sukkah? Just to read the words of the Mishnah. Yordu Geshamim, me'emes ha'motu lefanas, when are you allowed to leave, start packing out? Misha tisrach ha'mikpa, when the porridge gets ruined. But now let's learn the Gemara. The Gemara says, Tana, it's a brisa. The brisa talks about it. And it elaborates. Misha tisrach ha'mikpa shel grisen, when the porridge of grisen, of split beans, gets ruined. Not just any porridge, split bean porridge. Why is that our gedder? Why is that like, when the split bean porridge gets ruined, you can leave the sukkah? What's the reason? The reason is because that type of porridge gets easily ruined with not so much water. So we're actually very chilled with leaving the sukkah. A lot of times people are like super analytical, looking at the sukkah, the drops. If I myself don't know exactly how to categorize it, but if you have a split bean porridge and it'll get ruined, which gets ruined pretty fast with a little bit of rain, you're allowed to leave the sukkah.
When the forecast is rainy, you should make sure to have this on the table.
Right, just to see, right. You should. By the way, that's a huge, what's that called? These Jewish companies, not only Jewish inventions, what's the one with the candles? Ner mitzvah.
Right.
It should be like you buy a split bean porridge and you put it into your sukkah to see. I'll partner with you right now. I'm honest. I'll get together. I'm in. Call it smooth porridge or something. Okay, fine. What? Get the app. I'm asking like that. Yeah. Nowadays don't need anything. Okay, listen to this ma'isa. I got a good story here. Abaya have a kayosiv kamed Rav Yosef b'mitalalta. Abaya was sitting. Have a kayosiv. He was sitting in front of Rav Yosef in his sukkah. B'mitalalta, in a sukkah. Noshav zika. The wind blew. Noshav blew. Zika, the wind. V'kamaisi tzivusa, and it brought wood chips from the succah into the sukkah. So it was a nice windy day. I don't know about it was a nor'easter. It was windy. Some wood chips of the succah fell while they're sitting in the sukkah. Amr luhu Rav Yosef said to them, it wasn't just Abai there. Abai is one of the people there. I guess he had a bunch of Talmidim or family members. Luhu means to them. Rav Yosef said to them, Panu li mani mehacha, clear out for me my stuff, my utensils from here. I'm leaving. I'm going into the home. Get my stuff out. Let's go. Clear up. Amrle Abaya said to him, huh? V'hatznan, we learned in our Mishnah. Mishetisach hamikva. When the split bean porridge gets ruined. This is like a little wood chips. Relax. It's not like rainy or anything like that. Could be a little bit crunchy, the split bean porridge, but it's just wood chips. It's not a big deal. Amar Le, and I think Aaron, you asked this last time. Amar Le, Rav Yosef said to him, Lididi, for me, Kivan Danina Datai, I'm extremely sensitive mind. I'm very picky. I'm very, I get yicked out. You know those guys? You know those people? Like, OC, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to use that word 100%. But somebody who's like that, Kimisha tisach hamikvah damili. For me, it's like this, like the porridge is ruined. It's compared to me. For me, it's disgusting. Wood chips for me is not geshmak. So says Rav Yosef, even though the Mishnah gives a general category, but if I'm bothered by it to that extent, I'm allowed to leave the sukkah. Okay? For me, happens there's a Gemara in Pesachim that says there's 3 people that don't have a life. You ever tell a guy you have no life? So the Gemara says there's 3 types of guys that don't have a life. You know what the people are? One is if you're extremely, have a lot of rachmanas. If you're a very compassionate person, really care about other people, mamish don't have a life because there's so many issues and you can't live. If you're always feeling bad, extreme, you can't live. It's very hard. You don't have a life. The second people get angry very fast. People, because everything bothers you, right? People are complaining. I hear everyone's complaining nonstop. But if you get really mad about everything, you have no life. You mamish have no life if you get angry. It's a Gemara. And the Gemara says, you know who else doesn't have a life? People that are nina datai, very sensitive, get yichd out, right? Because don't touch my. Those guys like, you went on my bed.
Handshake. Like,
Yeah, whatever. They get very, very, very nervous. The Gemara says you have no life. Says Rav Yosef, I have all 3 of those. Rav Yosef said in the Gemara, I have every single one of those. And in this Gemara right here also, a little wood chip, the guy's going nuts. A little wood chip, Rav Yosef says, I'm out. He got that was his nature. Rav Yosef, Rav Sheshus. Rav Yosef got a little lost. He didn't get blind. He lost a lot of his learning. Rav Sheshus is blind. Pretty sure. I don't think Rav Yosef is blind. Rav Yosef is blind. I don't think so. He just
or something.
yeah. So he was very, very sensitive. So somebody who's sensitive can bother. What? Sharp one. So I remember in Toronto, we spoke about this really, it's not a new concept, we had it by the baki, by the bugs. Remember that guy also? We had it somebody else, the sukkah bothered him. I think I said this nice, we had bees in Toronto. Depends on the person. Some people don't care about bees. Doesn't bother them. A bee, I don't care. No, those guys, bees don't bite. And it bites them, that guy. Bees don't bite. My brother, crazy Maisa. You know everyone says dogs don't bite? You ever know a dog, they don't bite. He one time, a guy was walking by him, and the dog bit him. He's like, oh, sorry. Like when it happens, they just say sorry. Right? But dogs don't bite. They could bite. People have dogs say that. They don't bite. But Maisa, sometimes they do bite. Al Kapanim, he was bitten by a dog that the owner says they don't bite. So bees also, every person's different. Does it bother you? Does it not bother you? If you're a very big anina datai, if things bother you, then you're allowed to leave the sukkah. Right, it says this is that. If you're very perturbed from that. Yeah. We're up to Tanu Rabbanon. Just say one halach here because it's interesting. No, stop here. Stop at Tanu Rabbanon.